morning, CCHS students. This morning I have Major Liddle here with me. He's retired Marine Corps. He served in the uniform for a little bit over 40 years.
Wore the uniform for more than 40 years, very proudly. Every day I put it on, yes.
And he was a CCHS instructor here at CC for 6 years. Today I'm going to be asking him some questions in light of Veterans Day on Wednesday. So my first question for you is, what prompted you to join the military?
The motivations for me to wear the uniform, and I want to be specific about the years in uniform, my active duty years. When I talk about 40 plus wearing the uniform, I count the last 6 here, obviously retired, but grooming standards, fitness standards, they're all very Marine-like, and proud to uphold the standards. The motivations to serve come from my family. My grandfather was a World War I veteran of Army artillery. My father was a World War II veteran, and he was a naval aviator. And so I felt a family responsibility to carry on the tradition of service in uniform, and it was something that was mentioned to me in my grandfather's house as a young boy, barely in elementary school. I remember significantly the nature of those conversations. So it was a family responsibility, and I always felt that it was my duty to put on the uniform.
Okay. So the next question I have for Major Liddle is, what made you want to teach JROTC at the high school level?
The history behind my ROTC involvement with Culpeper is that after I retired from active duty as a Marine Corps infantry officer, I still wanted, as I mentioned in my first response, I still wanted to be in uniform. I didn't feel as though it was time to hang it up, so to speak. And I served in Maryland with the Marine Corps ROTC unit there for a period of time. And then one day, my boss said, how would you like to take the flag, in other words, move this command from Maryland out to Culpeper? And I jumped at the opportunity because I want to wave the pom-poms for what we have here in Culpeper, and I think the statistic I'm about to cite speaks for itself with regard to what we have here in Culpeper County, Virginia. My last year, when it was 2019, the Marine Corps JROTC unit at Culpeper County High School produced more United States Marine Corps recruits for Marine Corps boot camp than any other high school in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that is a wonderful nexus of the opportunity to educate people about what the Marine Corps is about with the patriotism that we enjoy here in Culpeper. And so I was very, very privileged to carry the mantle of senior Marine instructor for this unit for 6 full years. And we made a number of significant goals. Among them was to be one of only 2 national honor schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia for Marine Corps ROTC. And you can't do that unless you've got quality students to draw from in the student body. So Culpeper is a terrific place to serve. Speaking to your JROTC question. No hesitation. Happy to be here, and I wish I was still doing it, but time marches on.
That was my question for you.
Time marches on, and when you get to be a little bit long in the tooth, you have to be able to physically do everything that you're supposed to do as a Marine Corps infantry officer, and it was time for me to retire. Reluctantly, but it was a great 6 years here.
Okay, so the final question for Major Liddle today is, what is one thing the military has taught you that today's youth should know about?
Embracing diversity in a society that is changing rapidly is something that the United States military has taken on as a sociological challenge since 1948. There was no integration in this society until President Harry Truman integrated the military after World War II. And we're not just talking about race here. We're not just talking about ethnicity or culture. We're talking about the difference between a guy who grew up in Los Angeles and a guy who grew up in Virginia. And we get to know each other in terms of who we are, even though we may be fairly similar in some respects. At first blush, when somebody sees Matthew or Liddle walking down the street, they would say, well, they may not be too different. Nothing could be further from the truth. That ability to interact with your peers, often in stressful environments, is incredibly maturing and contributes to your humanity in ways that benefit you and broadens your horizons about what the world has to offer you in the way of your fellow man or fellow woman. And you recognize that you don't really understand the worth of somebody until you get to work with them and know them, and it doesn't matter where you're from or what you look like. It is, to quote Martin King, the content of character, not the color of skin. So that's what I would offer to young people. Expand your horizons, lead the examined life, and you're not going to get an opportunity to take on responsibility in significant ways as quickly in any other circumstance than assumption of responsibility or even command in the military. So an incredibly maturing process and a wonderful opportunity that is available really to all American citizens. So it's a win-win. It's good for the country and it's good for everybody who's involved.
I want to thank you, Major Liddle, for joining me today, and I want to thank you for your service. And for everybody watching, I want you to reflect on Wednesday and thank a veteran for their service and ask them about their story and get to know them a little better.
Good to see you, Matthew.
Good to see you too.
Semper Fi.